Hi, welcome to New Sport at the Forum. My name is Aiden and today we're going to go through a couple of stretches you can do for the University of Newcastle Stress Less Week. If you are working with anything in your bodies, any health conditions, heart conditions, injuries, anything like that, take modifications, take your time, or just pull back and don't go into certain movements that aggregate anything for you. That being said, we're going to be seated on a chair, so these ones are really good to do at your desk. So you want to have preferably a chair that's stable to the floor, so maybe not a wheelie one. And you're going to sit right to the edge of your chair. So if you're sat all the way back, you want to sit forward, so you've got a bit of space between your knees and your hips. You can sit up nice and tall, and then we're just going to start by rolling our shoulders back and down, taking a nice big deep breath. And this one you can also add a bit of a shrug for your shoulders. Sometimes we don't notice how high our shoulders have crept up towards our ears, and we end up sitting more and more like this. So just really think about rolling them down and then dropping them right down. So keeping that nice big circle. And as you breathe in, shoulders come up. As you exhale, drop them down. So you're kind of wanting to hit this midline of your back, drawing the shoulder blades gently together and down. Nothing too forceful here, but just to open up through our chest. Alright, rolling through, setting with that breath. So it's a big deep breath in through your nose, exhaling out through your mouth. This is really helpful to bring your stress levels down. Helps calm your nervous system a little bit, so the deeper and longer you can breathe without forcing it, the better it'll be. So you can take that nice big deep breath and big breath out. You can even let it go on the side if you've had a particularly stressful week, you're working on any assignments, things like that. That nice big deep breath and then exhale, let it go. So from here we're just going to work through our neck. Now our neck you want to be really mindful and careful with, so we want to keep those movements really small to start. So we take a big inhale breath and gently start to encourage that chin up towards the ceiling. What we're trying to be mindful of here is not sort of just throwing the head all the way back and getting that really big hinge through the top of your spine. You kind of want to lift up through the back of your neck, and then you're lifting your chin just a little bit. And then as we exhale, we bring that chin towards our chest. And for this one, you might even want to drop through your shoulders a little bit, just to allow that curve through that top of your spine. And then big breath in, we lift all the way up. And then exhale. So just bringing some gentle movement here. This area can get quite tight. Supports our head. And then we want to make sure nice and gentle here as well. And then exhale, last one, you can drop the chin forward. If you'd like, you can hold here for a few moments. If that feels really good, you might even want to gently rock your head from side to side, releasing out, and then bring it to center. No more rocking. Slowly roll all the way back up to a neutral position, and then we're going to look from side to side as well. So deep breath in. And then as we exhale, just turn from one side, bring it back to center, turn to the other. Now you might notice if you've got particularly tight upper neck or shoulder area, that this might be a little bit harder to do. You might feel like you can only get so far on one side. That's okay, don't push it. Just go as where you can without causing any pain. You just want a gentle release here. And then one of my favorite ones is you're actually going to drop the head from side to side. So we're going to do a tilt. So you want to make sure you're up nice and tall. You draw those stomach muscles into your spine. It doesn't have to be a really full brace, just enough that we're lifting and lengthening up through our spine. Big breath in, and then you're going to exhale, drop that here towards your shoulder. And you can add to this stretch. So if you want to add a little bit more, just allow that opposite arm just to drop down towards the floor, nice and gently. And as you breathe, it'll feel like that weight gets a little bit heavier. You sort of get that deeper stretch through these neck muscles. And you might even want to gently tip the head forward, and then gently lift the chin up whilst keeping that head tilted to the side. So you've got all these lovely attachment points of these muscles. The back of the head, the front of the chest, the collarbone, so you want to be nice and gentle here. Again, if anything's painful, maybe just bring that hand to your leg and keep moving in and out. So with all of these ones, you can start more dynamic, so that means to keep moving, particularly with your breath. If it feels nice to hold, if you feel there's kind of sticking points where you're like, this is really tight, and you want to breathe into it, just stay there for a moment and imagine you're breathing into that particular area. And then you can place your hand back to your thigh, if it's not already there, bring it all the way up, and then we're going to drop to the other side. And then if you want that little bit more, you can allow that arm to drop, and then lift the chin. So you might have one side that can move further than the other. Just go where you can for each side, and just be really mindful that we're not trying to push or force anything in this part of our body. You might find that you get a bit further, one direction or the other. Just try to keep that nice deep breath. If you want to hold, you can. Just allowing that shoulder to be that kind of dropping weight. And then release, hands and knee. Slowly bring it all the way back up. And you can roll out through. If you like and it feels good, it's available for you. Do a big head roll, so you can drop it forward and then bring that head all the way back up and then move it in a direction the other way. If you find that putting the head all the way back kind of catches or doesn't feel so good, just stick to the front, almost do like a semicircle just from shoulder to shoulder. And then slowly lift up to neutral, lifting that head, roll the shoulders back and down. Now that we've released around neck, just making sure you're on the edge of your seat. Now your feet can be in two different positions. You can be in front, or they can be a little bit wider if you feel like that gives you a bit more stability. Totally up to you. We're going to bring the arms into it. So big breath in, open into what we call cactus or goalpost arms. So really open through your chest, squeeze those shoulder blades together, and then exhale, just bring it back down. So this is just creating some space through the front of our body, which if you spend over a desk working most of the day, or kind of in this position, these muscles can sort of get really tight and you'll notice your shoulders can sometimes roll in as well. So we want to open that up as much as possible. Exhale, bring it down. You now bring it up. If you want to add a little bit more for the lower body and it's there for you, you can bring the feet a little bit wider and you can tip forward. So you're tipping forward, you want to tip from our hips first. Big breath in. Exhale, you can come forward. So you can walk your hands down your legs. That'll give you lots of support. So if you just want to go halfway to start, that feels really good. If you want to go a bit further, you can walk them down your shins, your ankles onto the floor, and then just let your head drop all the way forward. You're going to come up, and then exhale, come down. So you're kind of allowing the top of your body to drop as you come forward, and then lifting the arms up. Something a little bit different as we tip forward. We're going to sweep those arms up to our ears. Think about pulling that belly in towards your spine and then lift up, nice long straight spine. And we exhale, we come down, so straight spine, and then we're going to bend once we get to the knees. Stomach draws in, lifting up. So this is mimicking what we would do if we were standing in a forward fold. Modification is just to bring the hands to the knees, if that feels good, or if you're in a small space, you don't have a lot of room to move, you can do that one. Then if it feels good, our last one here is we're going to drop all the way forward. If you like, you can place your hands to your shins, ankles, your feet to the floor, or if it's there for you, you might even want to grab your elbows. Bringing your feet out a little bit wider will help you here as well. And then as you take a deep breath in, filling up the body, filling up the lungs, and then as you exhale, allowing yourself to drop forward, just allowing that head, neck, and shoulders to release. You might want to rock from side to side, you might want to move gently forward and back, just depends what feels good for you. If none of those feels good, or if having your head forward makes you feel a bit dizzy, walk your hands up. You can do the same thing by just bending forward. Lifting all the way up, moving into some side bends now. So again, legs can be in front. So you can have one hand to the front, or they can be wider. So I'll show you both options. We're going to sweep up one arm towards the ceiling, big breath in, and then exhale, you can drop to the side. So hand can be to the leg, or you can drop down. You might even want to hold the side of the chair. What can feel a little bit more supportive is bringing your feet out a bit wider. So you can almost bring that forearm down to your leg. Big breath in. Exhale, and we sweep over. Now, if you're working with anything in the shoulders, or it doesn't feel good with the arm, just bring it down to your lower back. You're still getting that bend. Think about lifting up through your side. So you want to take that big breath to draw your ribs away from your hip. And then exhale, come over to the side. And we can move in and out with our breath from side to side with this one. So we switch arms, big breath in, forearm comes down, or the hand, we tip over. Again, your option is from the hands to the back. And then you can almost do this with a bit of flow with the breath. So you can sort of windmill the arms, big breath in, exhale, bring it over, big breath in, exhale, bring it over. You might want to experiment with the arm, like lifting up through the elbow, extending through the fingertips. You get that nice long stretch down through the back of your tricep, through the side of your body. And then you might even want to rock that arm gently back or gently forward. You might find that gets into a different part of the stretch for you. Big breath in. Exhale, we tip over. Going forward. Go back. And last one. Try to keep both sides even. If you've lost count. And then come all the way up. And then bring the legs forward, hands to the knees, just to release out through that bend. Big breath in. Exhale, we tip forward. So when we tip forward again, what we're trying to do is allow the hips to press first. So rather than curling through our body and kind of trying to reach our knees, we want to lift up through our spine and then tip forward. Even if you're only moving a tiny amount or not as far, you're getting more into the movement. We want to be in releasing and keeping that spine nice and aligned. Another twisty one. Bring your feet forward. This time your forearm can come over your knees. Two options for the hands, one to the lower back, or if it's there for you, you can extend the arm. So the first one is we roll that shoulder back, try and gently hug your elbow in, big breath. And then as you exhale, we twist from that upper body to the side. Now just to show you what I mean here is the lumbar or the lower part of our back, we want to keep nice and protected. So it's the ribs up that we want to twist from. So it's that shoulder and ribs twist. Head follows last, just so we're not leading with our neck, looking behind us. And then we exhale over here. So with the arm, big inhale breath. Exhale, you can sweep it up to the ceiling. Or what you want to avoid with this one, if you notice on yourself, the mirror near you, or a friend that can tell you if you're moving your shoulder inwards and twisting the arm, maybe try with the hand to the lower back so you can open up through that shoulder joint. And we can move in and out a few times with this one. Moving to the side with the hand to the lower back or with the arm up straight. Take as many breaths as you'd like to. And then we're going to switch to the other side. So I'm just going to turn to face you again. Forearms come across your knees, sitting on the edge of that chair. Feet are nice and grounded on the floor. Roll that shoulder back and down so you can open up through your chest. Gently to the side. So you want to make sure both your hips and the sit bones that you're sitting on are nice and stationary to the chair, nice and still. And then if you want a little bit more, that arm can sweep out, lift up. Exhale, bring it up. Inhale, comes down. Exhale as we twist. Just as many as you like, that feels good here. If you want to add a bit more of a sweeping motion, you can maybe sweep that arm forward. And then lift it up. And again, just being mindful of that shoulder. If you find that it starts to come forward and kind of sort of curl around, maybe bring your arm lower or to your lower back so we keep that shoulder open. Then back to the center, lifting up nice and tall, big breath in. Exhale, just releasing that twist out through our spine. Brings us back to neutral. Inhale as we lift. Exhale as we come forward. And big breath out. Now, one here that's really good release, really top of your body. So I'm just going to grab my chair here. So if you're seated at a desk, this height might be a bit lower for you, which is fine. What you want to do, so if your desk is kind of chest level or where it would normally be, feet are to the floor. I would recommend turning the chair so you won't be sideways. Sitting on the edge of that chair, and what you can do is just bring your elbows down to the desk in front of you. So you might have to shuffle yourself back a little bit, so just adjust your chair and your position accordingly. So I move mine a little bit further forward. So you want that ability for your head to come through your forearms. So we're going to take a deep breath in, and then as you exhale, allow your head, neck and shoulders to drop. Now the elbows is quite strong for this one. What you can also do is separate the hands a little bit. through. And this one you can sort of lift as you breathe in and exhale as you breathe out. It's a really nice way to open up through this part of your body. It's quite strong in the elbows. What you can do is shuffle back even further. So move this chair and bring your hands down, and you can bring your legs a little bit wider, and then you can allow yourself to drop forward on this one. So hands can be shoulder width apart. You might even want to experiment with bringing your hands wider. Inhale as you lift, exhale as you lower. So you might even need some more distance, just so our feet can stay on the floor. Depends how tall you are, how long your legs are. And then we exhale, bring it down. Inhale, we lift, and then you can just hold it in this position, allowing your head to fall forward, or if you're from your elbows, you're doing the same thing, allowing your elbows to drop, and we can lift up, just realigning your chair, bring it back, rolling out, big breath in, exhale to move forward. So you shouldn't feel that one in your lower back at all, so just make sure that you're in the right position. You want to be at the edge of your chair, your desk is in front, you're either down on your elbows, or you can move back further and have your hands on the desk. What we're trying to do is just allow our body to come forward, head through our hands or arms, to get that release out through the back, through your rotator cuff, through those scapula, basically just through the top of your back. So lift up nice and tall. Now we can move into the lower body a little bit more. So again, feet to the floor, sitting on the edge of that chair. You want to come into a variation of a figure four stretch. So you can lift up one leg. You want to make sure that your ankle comes behind your knee joint, and then you flex that foot. So you're flexing those toes towards your shin and just adjusting here so that knee's up and out to the side. Now you might be quite tight through your hips, your knee might be quite far up. If it's a little bit too much, you can bring your foot to the floor and just go through that tipping forwards and back. But if it's available for you, bring that ankle over the knee. Again, making sure both hips stay nice and level. With this one in particular, we want to be mindful that we don't sort of cross our legs and lift one hip up. We want to make sure that hip stays down. Flexing those toes, and here might be enough. If you're particularly tight in your knee, in your hip, this might be enough. That's okay. You're getting as much of the stretch as you need to. Big breath in. If you want a little bit more, you can start to again tip forward from your hips and lift and lower. So moving in and out is a nice way to introduce sort of a stretch and release into your body without it being really tense, without having to hold it. And there is a difference between being uncomfortable and being in pain. If it's painful, move out of it, don't go as far. If it's uncomfortable, where it's just a bit tight, use your breath, move dynamically, go nice and gently on your body, particularly if you've been in one position for a really long period of time, or if you've been stunning all day. This one you want to be nice and mindful of. Keeping that foot flexed just to protect your ankle and your knee joints. And then if you like, you can hold this stretch. You can add a little bit more pressure with the other hand, dropping that knee out to the side. You might feel the difference there. And the further you bring that chest towards your leg, the deeper into the outer hip you're going to get. Good, lifting up. You're going to switch sides. Just release that leg. Now you might have one side better than the other, like I do. One side that feels a bit nicer, so you can just move into whatever's in your body, whatever feels good. Checking your position, big breath. Exhale, bring it forward. So again, you can move in and out a few times. So I'd recommend doing just to sort of introduce a bit more space, a bit more movement, a bit more breath before just holding it. And then when it feels good, once you feel like you've got a bit of a range in that movement, maybe a little bit less tight, then we can hold it there. Using that breath. Again, flexing the foot. And then we're going to release, placing one foot down to the floor. So we can walk out those legs a little bit. The next one we're going to do is like a modified hamstring stretch. So you can do this one standing, but whilst we're sitting, whilst we're at the desk, if you don't have a lot of time, or if you just want to stay seated, this one's a good one to do. One foot's to the floor, one foot's flexed with the legs straight. So you just want to make sure that you're supported by that chair, that you're not going to slip off the edge of it. You want to always bring your weight into the bed leg. You don't want to put weight on an already extended joint. not very nice for our knees. We sit up nice and tall, and then we exhale, we lean forward. So the more you can sort of encourage that hip back, just a little, and you'll be able to feel it if you put your thumb in your hip crease. If your leg sort of starts to come off the chair, just see if you can gently move it back so your hips are level. And then come forward. So the more you flex your foot, you'll get a slightly different feel in the stretch. You might get it more into the back of your calf. And then you can actually reach down towards that foot, just for the toes, so I'm not putting any pressure on it. So you can do the same thing standing up, one leg straight out in front of you, just to release out through the backs of your hamstrings, which can get quite tight if we sit a lot, because I get sort of in that fixed position. You shorten, and we come all the way up. If you want to add like a sweep, you might have seen this before, you can sweep down, lifting all the way up. If that feels good, sweep the arms down, big breath in, you lift up, exhale, get the arms down. This can just add a little bit of movement into this part of your body. Bring the arms down, and then we can switch sides, other legs flexed, hand onto that bent knee, moving in and out. Adjusting your position so you feel supported, you're not going to fall off the edge of your chair, but also so you feel like you're getting that little bit of a stretch here. If you want a bit more, same thing standing up. And then if you want to reach for the toes, you might need to shuffle back just so as you reach, you're supported in the chair. I'd also recommend a chair that's kind of flat. So if it's got like a lift at the edge of the chair, it can be a bit trickier to keep your stability on. Like your kitchen chair, something like that can sometimes be a bit more helpful. And then we can add those sweeps, so we can take that deep breath in, lifting all the way up, exhale, bring the arms down, big breath in, all the way up. So you can do the same thing. If you're around other people, you don't have to do the arms, you can maybe just walk the hands down and then lift up. Or if you're in the library or something like that, if you don't want to be doing a big sweep through the arms, you don't have to, or you can. And then finishing there, coming back, and we're going to go for a nice big wide forward fold. So bring the feet out nice and wide, so they're sitting up on the edge of that chair, feet are flat to the floor, big breath in, then we're going to exhale and bend kind of halfway down. So this one, your body's going to kind of fold in half, but you're supported with the hands to your knees. And we lift up, big breath in, and we exhale. So try to breathe first before the movement, and then have that breath carry you through. So I start to breathe in, and then I start to lift. As I start to breathe out, and then I start to move forward. Then if it feels really nice, you can again do that forward fold from before. You can allow yourself to drop all the way forward, releasing any tension or weight out of your head, neck and chest. Hands can be to the floor. You can grab your elbows if you want a little bit more. And slowly rolling up through your spine. Sitting up nice and tall, rolling through your shoulders. And hopefully there's a little bit more space to breathe into now. Bring your hands down to your knees. Take a few deep breaths. In through the nose and out through the mouth. If you want to connect in a little bit more deeply with your breath, you can bring one hand to your chest, one hand to your stomach. You can close your eyes, keep your gaze down. Well, that might be enough for you today, just to have those last few deep breaths, and then so we can get on with your day. Thank you so much for joining us.